Hello my friends, let's go straight away to the hottest topic, and as for me it is the current situation on the front lines, because Russia actually already breached and penetrated the main Ukrainian defense line on Donbas. Here, guys, I don't want to sugarcoat the events happening, and as for me it is the biggest news because, yeah, politics, they speak, you know, they tell bullshit, and by the way, we're gonna discuss Donald Trump in the next video, but what is happening on the ground really matters because those are actual physical events. So here you can see this area, two of the Russian attack vectors, the expansion of the gray zone beyond Ukrainian defense line. As I already showed you yesterday, the defense line was touched by Russians already, but today they penetrated it in two of the directions. And we may try to confirm it with you. So Zoloty Kolodezi is over here. What is behind is already the penetration of defense lines. Yeah, still there are some of the local trenches. They're also robust, but Russia went ahead. So let's go back to our map here. I'm gonna switch to satellite image as well. So Zoloty, yeah, it's one way of the penetration. So in Vysela, I'm not sure if Russia did it, but here for sure they went through Ukrainian defense line, and the regular Russian army groups already fighting in Zoloty Kolodez. Those are not the Russian sabotage groups any longer. According to my information, Russia went there with major force, which gives us not a good picture for Donbas at all. Yeah, I heard some of the comments saying that Ukraine did it for purpose, letting Russia to advance deep, and later on Ukraine may cut with counterattack the entire Russian group, trapping them in defense line. But no, it doesn't work like that. According to any sort of the book, you do not let your enemy to penetrate your freaking main defense line in Donbas for purpose. So it's deliberate Russian operation, and Ukrainian defense appeared to be very weak in this direction. There was not enough army men in those trenches to hold Russian major assault. So I would say it's the most successful operation for the Russian army for a very, very long time. I would compare it with the Russian major assault from Avdiivka. Then they moved really fast. If we go to April 2024, so a couple of weeks, and Russia took this part of the land, penetrating the main Ukrainian defense in this area, and later on they advanced quite fast further. So it was the major mistake comparable to what we have today in this direction. But I would say this one is even worse because it was a newly built Ukrainian defense line over here, which appeared to be very weak in this case. So here Russia potentially might create this huge pocket, especially if they start the advancement from this direction as well. So they may attack Ukrainian defense line from behind. The defense line is itself very robust. It is good. I had so many reports about this one, but Ukraine hadn't got enough forces to use it for defense in this specific direction. So Russian intelligence, they knew where to strike. That's why they changed the direction. So before they wanted to go to Pokrovsk, but they saw the opportunity for them appeared in the north, and they sent the major strike over there, penetrating defense line already. Guys, I'm not sugarcoating the events, it is really happening, and our volunteers and military, they confirm this Russians move. And let's go for the situational update. So it was yesterday, I said you before, yesterday, that it's critical, Ukraine should urgently send the reinforcements, and it is right now. So they already expanded this bridgehead. Now I might say that it would be the miracle if Ukraine stops or cuts this Russian attack. Usually it's not happening like that, so the urgent action already required, like it required maybe even 1 week ago. So Russians were really fast, and the confirmation about their attack pace definitely 10 kilometers per day. And again, it's the mistake done by Ukrainian command in this specific direction. They were not able to see this Russian attack. And again, it's the mistake of the Ukrainian defense. So yeah, just in 3 days, you see 1, 2, 3. Guys, it haven't been like this for a very long time. Moreover, according to my information, and we may see it on the map, we have the reports also from our officers and soldiers on the ground, that Russians already cut the road from Dobropilya to Kramatorsk. Ukraine used this road, it's kind of good road still, delivering the goods to Dobropilya, and after the secondary road like this one to deliver goods to Kramatorsk. Yeah, there is still the supply line which goes like this, but it will take more time for Ukraine now to supply Kramatorsk. Well, partially Ukraine may still do it via Slaviansk because this main road is under Ukrainian control. So at least one main fast connection is alive. But Russians are moving from this side towards Liman. It's their next goal. And I would say they're very close. Not long time ago they advanced from this direction. Liman is just 11 kilometers away from the fighting zone. So obviously Russians aim to the city and they want to cut this road. They want to move to Slaviansk from the northern side. So with this new attack vector, the plan for the Russian army is to create the threat for entire group of Ukrainian army in Slaviansk, Kramatorsk, Drushkivka and Konstantinivka. This is the huge urban environment. Next, Liman, they want to occupy it and create the threat for Slaviansk, but there is the river which they need to penetrate. It's not easy task because the river is kind of wide here. At the same time, they want to advance from Chasev Yar, from this direction, by the way, they advanced recently, and also Toretsk. They want to create a threat from multiple directions, and this is the very important hotspot. And I guess I'm very concerned about this one. Also, Russia is trying, as we see, to occupy Pokrovsk and Mirnograd, already creating this huge pocket. Plus, President Zelensky today mentioned that Russia sends more and more reinforcements, so they were getting ready for this, some sort of the operation. Now Ukraine has to do something with it. And honestly, guys, I'm quite surprised with this Russian attack. I thought that they are not capable for those fast attack missions already. But they show definitely that they have advantage over Ukraine, and it's not the Russian army that became so outstanding rapidly. No. Again, it's most likely the failure of the Ukrainian defense coming from the Ukrainian high military command. I'm almost sure about it because some of the volunteers already started to write about it, but more details will come in the next few days, so I'm gonna get to you updated. As I, by the way, told that the Russian advanced towards Ocheretine here, it was clearly the mistake, deploying new unprofessional brigade to protect the very important direction. So here, I don't have more details to say, but judging on the Russian fast movement, clearly something went completely wrong with the Ukrainian defense. And here's the notice from our officer on the ground, Officer Plus. He has his Telegram channel, who confirms those not good news. The situation in Donetsk region is truly critical. Besides the infantry holding the already marked lines on the map, there are also enemy sabotage and reconnaissance groups trying to slip through further, cause problems. So Russians already penetrated and they sent their sabotage groups further. I cannot say much for now, unfortunately, but situation definitely occurred. I hope that the higher military command will pay attention to this and change their priorities. If more villages are captured in this direction, it might create a huge problem for not just operational but also strategic situation or strategic operation of Ukraine. Sorry, I translated to English live. Plus, we have the big comment from the deep state military map itself. Their analytics, they speak with soldiers on the ground, with volunteers who deliver goods there. So they confirm that this area has the highly fortified trenches, dots, etc. If enemy bypass those, well, they already bypassed, as we saw on the map. If they take the line under control in some specific spot, like for example here, it would be very hard, if not impossible, for our forces to get rid of Russians in those defense positions. So they're gonna use Ukrainian-built defense lines for their own defense if now Ukraine starts the operation to kick them out. Even now, if Ukraine sends some extra forces here, it would be very hard because we understand that they took those positions. So obviously, aviation should be used absolutely everything right now to kick them out here. But it's difficult to do because this defense line is really robust, but it is not working if you don't have soldiers to protect this area. And judging what Deep State writes, plus Ternenko and other volunteers and soldiers, it was the main thing why this Russian assault became possible. Ukraine wasn't expecting it, concentrating the forces in other directions like Pokrovsk, Toretsk, and Russia just used this time and window opportunity to advance to the most protected, as maybe Ukrainian command thought, area, but in fact it was the least protected and the most important area, which they took at least in a single spot. So I would say so far it's the worst situation which happened on the front line since the start of the year. And to be really honest with you, I don't think that Ukraine will be capable to get rid of this Russian assault here. in the best variant possible, Russians could be stopped, judging on what resources Ukrainian army has. And we have update from the Michael Center 3 map. He pictures everything in a gray area. He says that he's still in lack of the real visual evidence. That's why he colored everything in gray, but we have reports, okay guys? Volunteers say in the social media that Dobropilya-Kramatorsk highway was cut by Russians, and we may clearly see it on the map. And the fight is ongoing for Zoloty Kolodets plus for Veselo and Gruzke village. The Institute for the Study of War draws a different picture, but they're not okay with current update. So we must say that all of those villages, they're on the lower ground, and yeah, it's not good situation at all. Plus Russians offense here to the side to Dorozhnya. Here you see the railroad, which is used usually by the Russian infantry to move. Yes, by feet, but they do it. So there is the threat for Dobropilya too. So on the channel, guys, I'm not saying that hooray, Ukraine is winning. Yeah, then we have some of the positive news. I always tell you about those. And yeah, by the way, we have the positive news coming from the Sumy region, more positive news. But compared to this, the major breach of Ukrainian defense by one of the fastest Russian attack, I would say even for a couple of years, they moved so fast. It is really concerning. Especially, you know, right now that there's gonna be the meeting between Donald Trump and Putin. Yeah, there is the high probability for it to happen. Still not 100%, but I would say like maybe 95% that it will happen. So Putin might show some of the maps to Donald Trump saying that Russian army is so successful that they create the threat for entire group of the Ukrainian army in Donetsk region. So Trump, please push Ukraine using all of the possible variants to withdraw, just voluntarily withdraw the forces from those settlements. You know, why should people die? Let them leave, and we promise not to assault any longer. But in fact, this summer, Russian campaign is probably, like not even probably, but it's the last major one attack of the Russian army with the resources they have from the volunteers. If they want to assault with the same pace the next year, they need absolutely to announce a new mobilization. Yeah, I understand that I predicted the Russian mobilization to start even this year, but for next year, guys, I don't see any sort of the human resource in Russia to continue with that pace, with those mid-waves. They absolutely need to drag everyone. And why this year it was possible for Russia not to announce the new mobilization is because they force the conscript soldiers to sign the contract with the Russian army after their conscription service is over. In Russia, it's 1 year, and later on, the Russian military command just force people to sign. And roughly 30% of the young people, they sign the contracts, usually under heavy moral or physical pressure. So count, each year Russia has roughly up to 200,000 conscripts. So 30% is roughly 70,000 Russian troops. That's the huge number. And again, new report is coming from our officer who confirms the very difficult situation with the Ukrainian defense, and it is close to be completely, let's say, bad. Officer says that he annoyed about the information coming from the Ukrainian media, Ukrainian officials who say that the situation is under control, everything is controllable, blah blah blah, and there is still no mobilization of the required forces to compensate this Russian breakthrough. He's disappointed because the truth should be told and the adequate reaction should be expected. Unfortunately for this day we don't have it, and I don't know what's gonna be with the next military map update tomorrow. Hopefully it will stay the same. After all, Russian supply lines are not that robust in this thin, long direction, but judging on Ukrainian defense without significant forces sent immediately there, Russia may expand it even more, maybe sideways, to create significant bridgehead using Ukrainian brand new built defense line in Donbas region. Yeah, probably the most disappointing videos I filmed today. This morning I published the first update, now the second update, which is the worst even. But guys, this is the harsh reality. I'm not speaking about pink ponies, rainbows and Wonderland, and that Ukrainian dog patron will demine all of the front line in one day. No, the situation is not good. And why do I tell truth? Well, because first of all, I'm that kind of person to tell truth. Yes, sometimes I try to avoid publishing some of the bad information, you know, to keep my viewers positive. This is not the case. It should be told. And in any of my videos, I have never lied deliberately. Yeah, there could be some of the false information presented and I tell about it. But if I see that it's fake information, usually I tell, okay, this is, we don't have the confirmation, it was fake. For example, then it happened on the south, then it was the report that Ukraine hit some of the big Russian train with FPV drones. All of the Ukrainian channels and pro-Ukrainian channels report about this operation as a successful one. I also reported, but later on it appeared to be misleading information, basically fake information, and I told about it in my videos. But with the Ukrainian attack not long time ago on Novofedorovka airport, there we have the satellite images confirming the strike, but the result of the strike, like SBU reported that 5 of the airplanes of the Russian army were kaboomed, well, I still cannot confirm that, because satellite images are very low quality. But here for now I trust many of the analytics, volunteers and military who say about this very dangerous situation for Ukraine, which could be close to catastrophe, not for Ukraine but for Donbas region, because if Russia is successful here, guys, it's no-go for defense of this. Should have never happened. Ukraine should have predicted it and put more reinforcements here. Yes, in a perfect variant, they will be just stopped here. I hope I am wrong and Ukraine will be able to counterattack, liberate this entire area. But for the last many months, I haven't seen those Ukrainian operations with huge, and this is huge, should be big counterattack. Well, in Sumy region we have the Ukrainian counterattack, but Ukraine takes just couple of the fields, you know, the part of the tree line. Russia is using lots of the aviation gliding bombs to bomb Ukrainian positions. So I would say it's not the full-scale Ukrainian counterattack. The fight is ongoing for those villages. Yeah, Ukraine was capable to liberate Andriivka, Kindrativ, but the fights for those 2 villages continued for a long time, maybe for 1 month or something like this. So the scale of the Ukrainian counterattacks, as you may see, quite limited. So yeah, today we have the positive update. Sumy region, couple of the fields and part of the tree line liberated. At the same time, Russia strikes very hard, but yeah, what is happening in Donbas, it's absolutely different story. Guys, I'm sorry to be such a pessimist today, but I'm more realist than pessimist, I would say. Alright, plus to this update, we have the movement of the Russian army in Chasiv Yar, so they moved across those fields. They're unable to kick out Ukrainian army fully from this district, and this one plus Shevchenko district, those are 2 last positions for Ukrainian defenders. So for Russia it's hard, the terrain here is also difficult, that's why they're moving across the field. So we have the update yesterday, today. So between the actual front line and Konstantinivka is 8 kilometers here, plus from the south it's less than 7 kilometers to this start of the settlement. And here you go to 31st of July, you can see that movement is happening pretty much fast here as well, but not as fast as here with the Russian big attack, which happened really fast advancement. Not good situation at all. Guys, hopefully next time I'm gonna receive positive frontline updates, but the chances for it to happen are quite low from what I see nowadays happening on the ground. And you know, videos with not good news, usually they have way less views compared to some encouraging videos which I film. That's why, guys, I'm very grateful for everyone who continued to watch me. Good news, bad news, no matter what, but thank you for your dedication to this channel. And special thanks to my Patreons who make the job possible. My friends, if you want to support me, the link for my Patreon is in the video description just below. And now, my friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.